All right, so I'm about to get into another reaction. This is from Jordan Peterson. All right, let's see what he's got to talk about in this video. It's called How to Improve Yourself Right Now and Why.
What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. And maybe so others don't have to either. It's something like that. You know, like there's a real injunction at the bottom of it. It's not some casual self.
I'm going to stop it right there. That's really good advice. Before you do anything, before you make any decision, your first question should be, why am I making the decision? Or what is the goal that I'm trying to reach before I even make this decision? Is this decision even worth doing? Is it in alignment with the goals that I have? So that's really good advice to start off with.
Self-help doctrine. It's that if you don't organize yourself properly, you'll pay for it, and in a big way, and so will the people around you. Now, and you could say, well, I don't care about that, but that's actually not true. You actually do care about that, because if you're in pain, you will care about it.
That's a fact.
And so you do care about it, even if it's just that negative way, you know. It's very rare that you can find someone who's in excruciating pain who would ever say, well, it would be no better if I was out of this. It's sort of, pain is one of those things that brings the idea that it would be better if it didn't exist along with it.
That's a good point too. I mean, a lot of times what you realize is that pain is an extreme motivator to do something great or just to do anything at all. You know, if you're extremely comfortable, there's no pain involved. A lot of times you get so complacent with how your life is that you end up not doing much else because you're just so comfortable. It's like, why? Biologically, we are not made to do things more than we need to because we have to, or historically, we've had to conserve energy. So why do things that are unnecessary to either improve our situation or just keep us alive? So, yeah, discomfort, pain, etc., those extreme great motivators in order to get you to do something.
Incontrovertible. So you get your act together so that there isn't any more stupid pain around you than necessary. Well, so then the question might be, well, how would you go about getting your act together? And the answer to that, and this is a phenomenological idea too, it's something like, look around for something that bothers you and see if you can fix it. So now you think, well, let's say you go into you can do this in a room. It's quite fun to do it just when you're sitting in a room, like a room, maybe your bedroom. You can sit there and just sort of meditate on it and think, okay, if I wanted to spend 10 minutes making this room better, what would I have to do? And you have to ask yourself that, right? It's not a command, it's like a genuine question. And things will pop out in the room that you know, like there's a stack of papers over there that's kind of bugging you, and you know that maybe little order there would be a good thing, and you know, there's some rubbish behind your computer.
I don't know if I totally agree with this. I'd rather not look for problems, but I guess if you want to really make something better or solve something, yeah, that's how you would do it. Look for some issues and then try to fix it. But my thing is, if things are going great, why look for issues? But let's see what else he got to say about this.
Computer monitor that you haven't attended to for like 6 months, and the room would be slightly better if it was a little less dusty and the cables weren't all tangled up the same way. And like if you allow yourself just to consider the expanse in which you exist at that moment, there'll be all sorts of things that'll pop out in it that you could just fix. And you know, I might say, well, if you were coming to see me for psychotherapy, the easiest thing for us to do first would just be to get you to organize your room. You think, well, is that psychotherapy? And the answer is, well, it depends on how you conceive the limits of your being. And I would say, start where you can start. You know, if something announces itself to you, which is a strange way of thinking about it, as in need of repair, that you could repair, then, hey, fix it. You fix 100 things like that, your life will be a lot different. Now, I often tell people too, fix the things you repeat every day, because people tend to think of those as trivial.
That's a fact. That is a big fact. most of the big goals that you want to achieve, it's gonna take consistency over time. So if you fix those daily habits or those daily activities and you improve on those little by little, the improvements stack upon itself over time. And then you'll end up reaching that goal that you ultimately want eventually just by being consistent in what you do on a day-to-day basis. So that is a big, big, big tip in order to help you improve yourself.
right? You get up, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you have your routines that you go through every day. Well, those probably constitute 50% of your life.
Yep.
And people think, well, they're mundane, I don't need to pay attention to them. It's like, no, that's exactly wrong. The things you do every day, those are the most important things you do. Hands down. All you have to do is do the
Facts.
arithmetic. You figure it out right away.
Whether it be with money, fitness, relationships, what have you, that consistency, those things that you do every day are so important. If you fix those, then you will have an incredible life. Incredible life.
So 100 adjustments to your broader domain of being, and there's a lot less rubbish around and a lot fewer traps for you to step into. And so that's in keeping with Jung's idea about erasing once you've got your mind and your emotions together, and once you're acting that out, then you can extend what you're willing to consider yourself and start fixing up the things that are part of your broader extent. Now, sometimes you don't know how to do that. So you might say, imagine you're walking down Bloor Street and there's this guy who's like alcoholic and schizophrenic and has been on the streets for 10 years. He sort of stumbles towards you and, incoherently mutters something. That's a problem. And it would be good if you could fix it, but you haven't got a clue about how to fix that. You just walk around that and go find something that you could fix, because if you muck about in that, not only is it unlikely that you'll help that person, it's very likely that you'll get hurt yourself. So, just because while you're...
It's kind of like, mind your business. And also, you can only really help the things that are in your control. So why expend so much energy and time into something that you really don't have any control over? And it's most likely not going to benefit you from doing it. So it's like, that problem is what it is, but it would really serve you no positive outcome if you engage in that. So just make sure that you really try to focus on the things that you can control and that you can direct and make better in your life.
Experiencing things announce themselves as in need of repair doesn't mean that it's you right then and there that should repair them. You have to have some humility.
Not everything is something that you could take care of yourself. You're not Superman. You're not this supreme being. You're a normal human, and you have your limitations. So whatever your limitations are, understand what those are, embrace that. Of course, you could try to push past certain limitations, but it's kind of like stay in your lane.
You don't walk up to a helicopter that isn't working and just start tinkering away with it.
Exactly.
You have to stay within your domain of competence. But most of the time, if people look at their lives, it's a very interesting thing to do. I like the idea of the room, because you can do that at the drop of a hat. You go back to where you live and sit down and think, okay, I'm going to make this place better for half an hour. What should I do? And you have to ask. And things will just pop up like mad. And it's partly because your mind is a very strange thing. As soon as you give it a name, a genuine name, it'll reconfigure the world in keeping.
Do not underestimate the power of the mind. Your mind is extremely powerful. I mean, that old saying, where the head goes is where the body follows. That is so true. I mean, there are even studies that say the amount that the average person uses their brain is some small percentage, like 5% or something of its total brain capacity. So imagine how much more that your brain could do if you just tap into and unlock the things that your brain is able to do. That extreme power of your brain function is something that could just redirect your life in such a way that you wouldn't even possibly imagine right now. And just having your brain go to that next level can put you in places that you would have never thought you could have been previously. So that is very true.
Keeping with that aim, that's actually how you see to begin with. And so if you set it a task, especially, you have to be genuine about it, which is why you have to bring your thoughts and emotions together,
They
and then
gotta
you
be
have
in
to
sync.
get them in your body so you're acting consistently. You have to be genuine about the aim, but once you aim, the world will reconfigure itself around that aim, which is
That's a
very
fact.
strange. And,
That's a
and
fact.
it's technically true. You know, the best example of that, you have all seen this video where you watch the basketballs being tossed back and forth between members of the white team versus the black team, and while you're doing that, a gorilla walks up into the middle of the video and you don't see it. It's like, you know, if you thought about that experiment for about...
That's called focus. Narrow vision. Tunnel vision. Drive. Very, very important.
5 years, that would be about the right amount of time to spend thinking about it. Because what it shows you is that you see what you aim at. And that, man, if you can get one thing through your head as a consequence of even being in university, that would be a good one. You see what you aim at. And so because one inference you might draw from that is, be careful what you aim at.
Yeah.
Right? What you aim at determines the way the world manifests itself to you. And so if the world is manifesting itself in a very negative way, one thing to ask is, are you aiming at the right thing? Now, you know, I'm not trying to...
As humans, we can only focus on so many things, you know. So what it is that you're focusing on, make sure it is the right thing that you want to focus on ultimately. The right thing that you want to focus on that'll give you the results that you're looking to have in the future. If you're focusing on things that are not in alignment with what you want in the future, then you're going to be going in the wrong direction. And that's not something you want to have happen in your life, because what will happen is that you'll be going in this direction that you had no real intention of being. And then before you know it, so much time has passed, and you'll get to a point where you're like, all this time has passed and I feel like I've wasted so much time and energy. You do not want to be in that situation. So really try to focus on the things that you're trying to get out of life and commit to those things every day.
Reduce everybody's problems to an improper aim. People get cut off at the knees for all sorts of reasons. You know, they get sick, they have accidents. There's a random element to being, that's for sure. And so you don't want to take anything, even that particular phrase, too far. You want to bind it with the fact that random things do happen to people, but it's still a great thing to ask.
That's a great video. Yeah, I think that was a really good video, very insightful. Those are things that you really have to take into account, especially if you're someone who is very serious about improving your situation and your life. So do not take those things that you heard in that video as something small and minute. Those are monumental ideas that are spewed in that video, and it would be of great advantage for someone to listen to those pieces of information, apply it to their lives, so that they could get the results that they want. All right, great video. Please drop a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna definitely do way more reactions and keep you updated. All right, and if you have any suggestions for me to react to, I would love to hear it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.